March 12th. So about a month later, Trump suspends travel to and from European countries. Biden tweets this: a wall will not stop the coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. The disease could impact every nation and any person on the planet, and we need a plan to combat it. Where's your plan, Joe? Where's your plan? It was 15 days or whatever to stop the spread. Fucking, how long has it been? How many days? We're going on well over a year. And this still hasn't been figured out. But see, right here, a wall will not stop coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe will not stop the virus. But let's ban travel from these African nations. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I agree with travel ban restrictions. I'm okay with it. I'm all on board for it. All I'm saying is I don't like the hypocrisy from the Biden administration, these politicians, and all focusing it on the Republican Party, all focusing on Donald Trump. Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our lead story today is dealing with President Joe Biden implementing travel restrictions, all due to a new variant of the coronavirus that is leading to an outbreak. This one comes from our friends over at the Daily Wire. If you're not already a member, hey, go over and become a subscriber today. And also make sure you help us out here at the Bald Brad Show by hitting that like and subscribe button. It really does help push our video out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. And with that being said, Ryan Saavedra titles this one: Biden implements travel restrictions on 8 nations amid new coronavirus variant outbreak. Ryan starts off by saying the Biden administration announced on Friday that it was implementing travel restrictions on 8 nations in southern Africa amid concerns of new coronavirus variant outbreak. Racist! Biden is a racist for implementing travel restrictions, travel bans on these 8 nations, especially these African nations, folks, because of the color of their skin, right? Because of the color of their skin, Biden can't take it by allowing more people to come into the country, all because he's a racist, folks. This is how it works, right? Of course, I'm being facetious and I'm joking around, but if you recall, when Trump stopped travel or implemented travel restrictions in China and also these European nations, he was considered xenophobic by the Biden administration. He was called a racist by everybody on the left. He was called a racist and a xenophobic and a bigot by the Democratic Party. For months and years, he was called that. And he still is called that by the left. He's called a racist. He is called xenophobic. All these names that they called him, all because he implemented travel restrictions. And now when the Biden administration does this, it's okay, right? He's not a racist anymore. He was a racist in the primary elections, right? His own vice president called him a racist. And now when she's vice president, no longer is a racist anymore. This is how this crap works, all this name calling. And it's sad because it diminishes what a racist is. And it makes that term lesser than what it was before, when we're constantly using it against people that aren't racist. I don't think Joe Biden is racist, by the way. Not even in the slightest. But again, if you're going to apply the same logic to Trump as you do to Biden, then Biden is a racist according to the leftist doctrine, the leftist terms. Well, the travel restrictions will go into effect on Monday, but they will not apply to U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents. The 8 nations of South Africa are listed. I'm not going to say them here. Biden said that the move came after he was briefed by Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and the chief medical advisor to the president, because we can all trust Fauci now. Look, I was on Fauci's side in the beginning. This guy knew what he was talking about. And I think obviously he still does know what he's talking about. He is an expert, but I think that he has gone so political. I think he has grabbed onto the Democratic Party and the left so hard that I can't sit there and trust the man anymore. He needs to be gone. The guy has been shifty. He's like a reed in the wind. He's gone left and right, mask, no mask, triple mask, quadruple mask, all these things. You can't trust the guy anymore. I'm not saying there isn't an outbreak. I'm being very careful on YouTube so I don't get banned. All I'm saying is he's not a trustworthy source. Fauci had suggested earlier in the day during an interview with CNN that more information was needed before making a decision on whether to ban travel, because you don't want to say you're going to do it until you have some scientific reason to do it. That's the reason why we're rushing now to get that scientific data to try and make an informed decision about something like that, Fauci said. Here's a little bit of what Fauci had to say on this interview in CNN.
Well, certainly there is a new variant that is now in South Africa in the Gauteng province that has some mutations that are raising some concern, particularly with regard to possibly transmissibility increase and possibly evasion of immune response. We don't know that for sure right now. This is really something that's in motion. And we just arranged right now a discussion between our scientists and the South African scientists a little bit later in the morning to really get the facts, because you're hearing a lot of things back and forth. We want to find out, scientist to scientist, exactly what is going on. But it's something that has emerged in South Africa and seems to be spreading at a reasonably rapid rate, in the sense of when they do test positivity, they're seeing that it's a bit more widespread in South Africa than was originally felt a couple of days ago. So it's in a fluid motion. We're finding more about it, and literally it's something that in real time we're learning more and more about.
Well, furthermore, what happened after this was earlier testing for the new variant showed that 90% of the cases that were reported on Wednesday came from the South African province that includes Johannesburg. On the question of where the variant came from, Bloomberg News reported, quote, "There's only speculation so far," one scientist at the UCL Genetics Institute in London said it likely evolved during a chronic infection of an immunocompromised person, possibly in an untreated HIV/AIDS patient. South Africa has 8.2 million people infected with HIV, the most in the world. The Beta variant, a mutation identified last year in South Africa, also may have come from an HIV-infected person. CNN highlighted other nations that have rushed to implement travel restrictions on the nations in question. So these people that implemented the 8 nations that so did the Biden administration imposed a travel restriction on are Japan, you have Austria, France, Italy, Netherlands, Switzerland, Egypt, Singapore, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Germany, Canada, Greece, Turkey. So these are all nations that implemented travel restrictions on these same 8 nations because they don't want this new variant to outbreak in their nation as well. What I find interesting was I did a little bit of research here, folks, on this whole xenophobia thing, because I don't like when people act hypocritical, especially coming from the left. So now we're going to bash them here. Well, I have here, with President Biden imposing travel restrictions related to coronavirus outbreaks in foreign countries, several readers have asked whether he is being hypocritical because he decried President Donald Trump as hysterical xenophobia during 2020 campaign. And the left go, "Oh, he didn't say that," because some of this stuff is deleted. Some of this stuff might be a little hard to find here, but folks, I got dates and times for you so you can look it up yourself. January 27th, 2020, Biden writes an opinion piece in US Today titled "Trump is Worst Possible Leader to Deal with Coronavirus Outbreak." Boy, that didn't age well, because now you got this guy that's a non-sentient human being running the country. Not only can he not figure out coronavirus, he hasn't done anything, right? You had Donald Trump working in conjunction with pharma to put in place Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccines out, which he did. And so all Biden's doing is just on Trump's coattails. He's just riding Trump's coattails, folks. He hasn't done a damn thing except now implement travel restrictions. Maybe that's the most thing he's done now. This is what Biden wrote. "I remember how Trump sought to stoke fear and stigma during the 2014 Ebola epidemic," Biden wrote, "such as advocating reactionary travel bans that would only have made things worse." But see, this is how things are going to get fixed, because now Biden's implementing travel bans, or at least some sort of restriction now, because it's going to solve everything, right? But he's saying Ebola wouldn't get solved by imposing these travel restrictions in the same way that you wouldn't have solved coronavirus by implementing these travel restrictions. But let's do it anyways, right? Follow the science according to Fauci, folks. Follow the science. Listen to the science. Science this, science that. Everybody say, "Lie, science, science, science." Everybody needs to shut the hell up with this whole science thing, as if these people know anything. I'm not talking about Fauci, but just these reporters, these anchors from CNN, MSNBC, all these left-wing outlets. Follow the data, follow the science. The science is always changing, and then when you counteract them with the science and the data, they can't accept it. But you're supposed to follow the science, folks. You're supposed to follow the science. This comment included a link to a now-removed Trump tweet from 2014 demanding that President Barack Obama close down the flights from Ebola-infected areas right now. Well, also on January 27th, 2020, so the same day at 4:06 p.m., Biden takes stage in Iowa. Biden said this, we have right now a crisis with the coronavirus emanating from China," Biden tells supporters. "The national emergency and worldwide alerts, the American people need to have a president who they can trust what he says about it, that he is going to act rationally about it." See, this is folks. Biden is just hypocritical on his own because the dude doesn't have a clue on anything. I mean, the guy forgets his generals' names, forgets his wife's name, he forgets his own damn name, and he's supposed to be the one that's supposed to be rational about all these things, but the guy can't comprehend his own people's names, especially his own wife's names. But he's all there in the head, right? He's the one that we're supposed to trust. He's the one that we're supposed to sit there to lead the way on this whole thing. You got to be kidding me. In moments like this is where the credibility of a president is most needed, as he explains what we should and should not do. The guy that can't figure out anything in this country on how to handle it, immigration, inflation, coronavirus. I mean, the gas issue. I know I keep repeating it for those that watch the show on ABL. You saw me talking about gas prices in California, $8. Anthony Brian Logan Show, folks. Go over and check him out. This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia and fear-mongering to lead the way instead of science. This did not age well at all. February 1st, just a day or two later, a day after the travel ban announcement, Biden repeats his xenophobia criticism, tweeting, "We are in the midst of a crisis with coronavirus. We need to lead the way with science, not Donald Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering. He is the worst possible person to lead our country through a global health emergency." This just looks terrible because we're now over a year away from all this, year and a half now. Biden hasn't figured anything out. Some places are still being imposed restrictions on. Some places like Los Angeles, you still have to wear a mask. You still have to show your people a card. In California to get into certain sporting events and venues, which is only hindering the economy, which is only hindering these businesses from being prosperous. But then you got Joe Biden here. You know, he's not racist for implementing a travel restriction ban. But see, when somebody else does it, all of a sudden they're racist, they're xenophobic. This is how this stuff works. And let's just call it out for what it is. It's bullshit. And there's people that just go along with this, right? Have a sense, have a brain. That's all I'm asking for, is have a brain. I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking to the left, right? The Democrats that watch this show. They act like this stuff isn't happening, in the sense of they're gaslighting everything. Oh, well, no, Biden isn't racist. We can't apply that because it's different in some way, shape, or form. Somehow it's different. March 12th. So about a month later, Trump suspends travel to and from European countries. Biden tweets this: "A wall will not stop the coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. The disease could impact every nation and any person on the planet, and we need a plan to combat it." Where's your plan, Joe? Where's your plan? It was 15 days or whatever to stop the spread. Fucking, how long has it been? How many days? We're going on well over a year. And this still hasn't been figured out. But see, right here, a wall will not stop coronavirus. Banning all travel from Europe will not stop the virus. But let's ban travel from these African nations. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I agree with travel ban restrictions. I'm okay with it. I'm all on board for it. All I'm saying is I don't like the hypocrisy from the Biden administration, these politicians, and all focusing it on the Republican Party, all focusing it on Donald Trump. Donald Trump's not racist. He's not. And did you see this video of him saying this? You could say racist things without being a racist. I know a lot of people that have said racist things, racist jokes in a locker room, racist jokes in a workplace, racist jokes at a college party. They're not racist. I've heard black people say racist jokes. I've heard white people say racist jokes. I've heard Asian people say racist jokes. Just because they say it as a joke or they say it offhand doesn't mean, one, they meant it, and two, doesn't mean that they're racist. People say a lot of stupid crap and they get away with it. Maybe they shouldn't have said it, and that goes along for me. There's a lot of things I've said in life that I shouldn't have said, whether that was a joke and somebody didn't take it as a joke or whatever it may be. But I don't like the hysterical of this whole thing with the Biden administration and the left calling Donald Trump xenophobic, calling him racist, a bigot, a sexist, a homophobe, all these things, a womanizer, all this stuff. And we can never apply it to the left. We can never apply it to the Democratic Party. So this is how this stuff works. So there you have it. Joe Biden implementing travel restrictions on his own accord, but he will not be called a racist by the left. He will not be called a racist by the Democratic Party. He will not be called a racist by CNN. He will not be called a racist by MSNBC. He will not be called a racist by any of these people. They're always promoting racism is out there in the ether. The white man this, the white man that, white privilege, all this stuff. As you have a white president whose own vice president called him a racist, but he's no longer racist anymore. This is how this stuff happens. Poof, it's gone. It's magic. It's just... you can spend hours talking about this and ranting and raving again. I am just an average American that is frustrated with everything that is going on with the left and the Democratic Party. And frankly, I'm kind of tired of it, which is why you sit and hear me rant every single day, or at least every other day here on YouTube, folks. And I always appreciate you listening and watching to the Bald Brad Show. And everybody that came over from Anthony Brian Logan Show, ABL, thank you so much for listening to my phone conversation. I would call in more to the show, but I don't want to be rude. I don't want to sit there and kind of, what's the term I'm looking for, kind of benefit off his hard work. I do love Anthony. He's a role model. He's somebody I look up to, but I don't want to always just I guess the word would be mooching off somebody else. I would call him more. I have emailed him to see if he wants to do kind of a segment on his show every now and then where we can come in and talk about things, politics, and get more into deeper discussion than I do here even on my own show. Well, with that being said, folks, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to this channel, sharing with your friends and family on social media. And folks, I will see you later here on The Bald Brad Show.